to meet you today. And first, maybe you can introduce yourself for the French readers and for us.
I'm Todd, and I wrote the After series. And I'm excited to be here.
And how old are you?
25.
25. It's very young. The very young writer. Yeah.
Hi Anna, this is Fabiola from the Romantic website. How do you feel now that you are famous? How about your family?
I don't know. Sometimes I don't. Most of the time, I don't really feel famous. It just feels exciting, and I'm really happy to have so many people like my book. I'm still getting used to interviews and pictures and stuff. Is a little weird, but I love meeting all my readers and stuff. My family is totally blown away, kind of. They didn't even know about After until I had publishing stuff going on, so they were really surprised but really happy.
Very surprised and very happy.
Yeah.
And your husband, you are married?
Yeah.
Yes.
He's really happy and proud.
I'm proud of
Yeah,
you, of course. I'm very curious. How did it start? What happened in your head and pushed you to write such a story?
It happened. I've always been a reader, always since I can remember. I loved books. I loved all kinds of books, fantasy, romance, anything. And then I found Wattpad, and it had all these fan fictions. And so I started reading them. And the two that I was totally in love with, the writers hadn't updated in a long time, which was only about a week. But I was impatient and wanted more story. And so I just started thinking that basically that same day, like maybe I could just write my own on Wattpad. And then I did it. And I just posted it. And I didn't really think about it because there wasn't any pressure because I didn't have any followers or any readers or anything. And so it was just to entertain myself.
It was a huge success very quickly?
Quickly in a way. In the traditional publishing, I guess it's really quick. I posted the first chapter in April, and then by July I had 1 million reads. So it was very quick. The first month I don't think was quick, but then all of a sudden social media just kind of sparked it, and my readers were posting about it all the time and spreading it really fast.
Yes, it was very quick. I mean, it's the same thing for other writers on Wattpad?
I think not quite this many, but it is very, if your readers pass your story around, or if you update a lot, you can get a lot of reads. Some stories have 100 million. After just has more, but there's other stories that are growing really fast.
I'm Mylène from the blog Les Lectures de Mylène. Why did you choose Wattpad? And at the beginning of this story, did you think this will have this amazing impact? Thank you.
I chose Wattpad because I liked reading on it, and I liked the community of how you can comment on a story and you can follow each other, message and talk. And I feel like there's so many writers that I love, but I could never talk to them or like tell them what I feel about their story while they're writing it. And I just loved that about Wattpad, and I loved that it was free. And so I just loved writing or reading on there, so I decided to write on there. And I definitely didn't think it would be this big at all. I don't think even Wattpad thought it would be this big.
You wrote 4 books. Four books. Each of them counts more than 600 pages and more than 100 chapters. I already read 3 of them.
Oh, wow.
Yes. The last one in English, so it was very long. It's like War and Peace by Tolstoy.
Yeah.
Are you a Russian writer?
I don't know what happened. I don't even know. I had no idea how long it was until they sent me the editing stuff, and my editor was like, we have so much material, and we cut some of it too from Wattpad. We cut about 1/4 of it.
Yeah.
And so I have no idea how I wrote so much, and I didn't realize I was doing it. It was just an obsession. The story just kept going and going. So I have no idea how long.
How did you write? How many hours did you write each day?
It was every day.
Every day.
Yeah. Sometimes I would write 2 chapters in one day and post them. Took over like all my day. And then after I would finish writing, I would talk to them on Wattpad or Twitter or Instagram and stuff. So it was an all day, everyday thing.
How does it work on Wattpad? you post the chapter and immediately they post something about this chapter.
Yeah, it gives a notification. So if they're signed up and they have allowing the notifications on their phone, as soon as I post it, everyone that has it in their library would get a notification. So that's how it got so immediate feedback. So I would post a chapter and sometimes there would be 1,000 comments in an hour. So it was a lot.
You read all of them, all the feedback?
In the beginning, I read every single one, and even sometimes I would reply to 301 chapter. But then as it, got overwhelming to many people, but I still read them as much as I can and respond to people, but I can't do it as much. But I love reading it though.
Is it important for the story and the next chapter to read the feedback?
I think so. I think it just helps me, especially because I had no experience in writing. It was almost having a whole bunch of editors or critics reading it immediately and telling me what was bad, what was good, what they wanted more of, what they wanted less of. So I think it shaped me and taught me to write while writing.
Yeah.
Hello, Moody from the blog Take a Book. Besides Hardin, other characters in the book are based on real people? Thank you.
Well, all of the One Direction members are in the book. Aren't based off of them personally, obviously it's fictional, but most of the characters are just kind of influenced by people that I've met or even things in myself. Some of, Tessa being 18 and going out to the world. I got married at 18. So, my marriage wasn't anything like Tessa and Hardin, but just her mindset in the beginning. Yeah, not at all. But just her mindset in the beginning of, you're 18 and she thought she knew everything and I was like that too. I thought, I was 30 when I was really 18. And so in that way I relate to her, but a lot of it's just influenced by TV shows and books and just fictional.
Do you imagine everything about him, or do you know someone like him?
Most of it's imagined.
Maybe several people like him.
Yeah, several characters.
Yes.
Really, not. I don't know anyone like personally like him, but like Heathcliff, Darcy, Christian Grey, like all of those kind of brooding, difficult men kind of molded a little bit of him, and then just some of my own imagination.
It was inspired by Harry Styles from the right direction.
Yeah.
Only physically.
Yeah, only physically. Definitely personality. From what I know, I don't know Harry obviously, but I know he's nothing like Hardin, and he's obviously not a college student or whatever. So it's totally just physically everything else, and even physically, I altered and gave more tattoos and piercings.
Does he know about your books, and does he know he inspired you like that?
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
And what does he say about it?
He hasn't really said anything publicly, but I think for where their marketing is for the ages and stuff, I don't really think it's a good idea for him to say anything about it. But obviously, if it was a problem, it would have been stopped a long time ago. No. I've been in the same room as them, but I'm a fan first, and so I don't ever want to use this as a way to meet them or something. I just think that's just rude, And so I'm okay with not meeting them. I love their music and stuff, and I'm so grateful that I wrote this and people loved it and stuff, but I just don't want to use anything to get them to meet me or anything like that.
Hardin is a bad boy. Why bad boys are so attractive for us?
I know, it's frustrating because it's why do we like that? Yeah. I like that in fictional, not in real life. Yeah, but in fiction, I think it's just it's emotional more than a perfect guy. It wouldn't be the same reading it because you wouldn't feel as much and you wouldn't be so into the story. I think it goes back all the way to Wuthering Heights and Pride and Prejudice. It goes back to that bad boy, and you always want to tame him.
Change them.
Yeah, and change them. And I think in fiction, it's, more likely that they would change than in real life.
I chose some words to describe Hardin. And is he selfish?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yes. Violent?
I think he is. He has violent streaks. He's very aggressive, especially when it comes to fighting people. He just doesn't know and punching walls. He's just angry, and he has things inside of him that he doesn't feel like he can express them. And he wasn't ever parented in a way to learn to express himself in a healthy way.
Volatile.
I think so.
Yeah. Damaged.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
a lot.
I think a lot, yeah. I think that things that happened with his family and the way his father was and stuff, I think added to it. That doesn't give him an excuse, because a lot of people go through stuff and they don't act like that. But I think with him, he just needed to learn to not be selfish and learn that everyone has bad things happen to them, and you can't let that make who you are, because it's not, you can't use that as your entire life as an excuse.
Yes. He's very gifted.
Yeah. I think he has a lot of experience, and I think since Tessa doesn't, I think that anything for her would have been amazing. I think, with women, when we don't know what to expect, everything is amazing, and I think that she cared about him so much that no matter what.
There are a lot of chemistry between them too.
Yeah.
It's not only because it's new for us.
Yeah, I think she just feels so attracted and so passionate. Whether good or bad, passion, sometimes they're fighting all the time, but I think it's just so passionate that it would have been good for her no matter what.
He is generous too.
I think he is. I think he could be more generous.
Yeah.
But in the fourth book, there's some other things, but I think he would want to be if he knew how. And I think that for him, generosity would be a sign of weakness. So I don't think even when he wants to be generous, I think that he stops himself from doing it because it would be weak to him. But we get to see more generous things from him in the fourth book. Yeah, there's a lot of things in the fourth book. Yeah.
Do you think he is abusive with them?
I don't know.
In their relationships.
I think it's such a fine line. Personally, I think that their relationship is not healthy at all. And I don't think that girls should go out looking for a real life harden. I think in a fictional story, it's a lot different. And so this isn't a model of how to date or a romance. I think it's supposed to be, in my mind, the idea of the story is that Tessa is so impressionable and she lets herself get lost in this man, and she doesn't have any friends, and she listens to, there are things that I did change, that she was more rebellious against him, but just as an 18-year-old, it is realistic in a way that she would lose herself and let him kind of take control of her life. And the whole point of it, in the big picture at the end of it, is that, you don't want to do that. You don't want to lose yourself because it's fun to read, but you feel her pain, I think. I do, at least, and I wrote it. But I feel like you feel that this isn't desirable. You feel things when you read it and things, but it's not supposed to be a model of a relationship.
Hi everyone, I'm Leah from the blog leatouchbook, and my question is, what is your favorite novel? Have a nice day and Happy New Year.
I change all the time. I'm like, can I name 3? No, my favorite novel at this moment is by R.K. Lily. She's self-published in the US. I don't know if she's foreign yet, but it's a story. It's kind of like After. It's very painful, and it was hard for me to read it, and it made me so angry the whole time. But it's afterwards, I think it was the best thing emotionally that I've ever read, because it made me feel things. And as much as I love Pride and Prejudice, but it doesn't make me like angry or feel sad or cry or happy or, So I think it's called Bad Things by R.K. Lily, and it's really
Bad Things.
Yeah.
I'm going to read it.
It's good.
You make numerous references to books and heroes from classical novels. So you love, I think, classical novels, Wuthering Heights or Pride and Prejudice. So is it because you study them or because you love this kind of books?
I just love to read them. Even when I was a teenager, I just was drawn to them for some reason. I think just the writing style, and it was a challenge. The first time I read Pride and Prejudice, I wasn't too bad. And then when I first tried to read Wuthering Heights, I'm like, I don't know how to read this. This is so hard. But then I got into it. Once you get into it, it was just, I hadn't read something like it before. And then I became addicted to reading classic novels. And when I was a teenager, it wasn't cool. Now I think there's this resurgence of it's cool to read classics. But when I was a teenager, it wasn't cool. And so I used to have to borrow the books from my teachers and stuff, and it was funny because whenever we were forced to read them, everyone would complain, and I would be like, yes, I already read it, so I can get it.
So you create the story chapter by chapter, and you find the ideas like that.
Yeah, there was some, like the end of the first book, I knew it was going to happen about a third of the way in, but I don't plan specific things. Like I always know big things when they pop up, but I never outlined it or had an ending. Like even when I was just editing the new ending for the fourth book, I didn't even really know what was going to happen until I was typing it.
I love the other characters, and especially the parents, because they are very important in the story. And I think maybe you can write the story of the parents, especially Christian and Kimberly. Maybe do you plan to write their story one day?
I think so. I think lately I've been thinking about it more because I love the whole thing between Trish and Christian and Kimberly. And when I was writing it, even my younger readers wanted more about them. And so I was thinking maybe doing something like a little bit of when they were younger and then now. So I think so because I like, I don't know, I love Tessa and Hardin, but I want to explore other things now. And like even with Landon, I have a story that I'm going to be doing with Landon, but I love the parents. Like,
do you have a next book? Do you plan to write the next book yesterday? Do you begin?
I've started a few different things. I'm doing the Landon series, which is going to be a lot shorter than After, but it's going to be, I think, 2 books, like 2 shorter or normal size books, I guess. And then I'm doing an LGBT story for a charity, an anti-bullying charity that I work with. And then I have another thing that has nothing to do with anything after. It's a romance. I'm in the very beginning of, like, I don't have much on it yet, but it doesn't have anything to do with after, but it's still kind of, I like angsty things. I like to, like, you know.
A lot of fights.
Yeah, a lot of fights and, like, make people feel stuff.